All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr., and you are watching Yankees Unloaded. This is, I think, episode 52. We've been doing a lot of them. We didn't get to do one, pretty much at any point during this series. So we're going to kind of recap all three of them. We'll start with, obviously, today's game. Gary, this was the biggest game of the series. You've pointed this out many times before. It is so hard to sweep a team in baseball, but it's really hard to sweep a series when you're on the road, and even harder to sweep a series when you're on the road cross country. So to see what they were able to do today, Gary, this is a huge game. We talked a little bit about it off air. The Giants here, this really felt like this game was cooked. To be honest with you, I mean, it was 5-3 going into the ninth. Volpe hits a triple. Trevino scores. Got to give Trevino a lot of credit. First off, not just scoring from first, but also the play before it, Michael K brought up. Yes, he grounded into a potential double play, but he was able to beat it out. That allowed that run to go. Then Soto comes up with Volpe on third, and he just says, I'm not even going to hit this into the gap and score you. I'm going to hit a freaking 2-run shot. And then Stanton hits a ground rule double, which would have been a home run at just about any ballpark, obviously, with Doval throwing 103. I think we all knew Stanton was going to get a hold of one. So, Gary, what were your thoughts on today's game? Because, man, that was a hell of a win.
Actually, aside from the obvious, right? Judge, Soto, that tandem is just freaking ridiculous. But I feel like every show is going to talk about those two, and we'll get to it. But what's so compelling to me about this lineup, and I actually really like what the Yankees do, is with Verdugo. I feel like Verdugo is just the X factor to this lineup. I know Juan Soto is probably the most impactful bat we have, because not only is he a lefty, but he's a contact guy. He's an all-around player that I predicted earlier. He might win a batting title, and then here we are. And he's got a real opportunity to do that. But having said that, this Alex Verdugo, man, that 2-run double was huge, because it felt like, okay, we were getting back into the game. And to be honest with you, I love what they do when we face a left-handed pitcher. Verdugo slides and Stanton is promoted in the lineup. So you start seeing Stanton hitting after Judge, and we get that look because Stanton hits very well against left-handed pitching. So I just love what we're doing. The lineup makes sense. And I've said this plenty. The Yankees have never had, in my opinion, right? We've hit a lot of home runs in years past, right? We struck out a lot. Yeah, we walked a lot, but again, it was either strikeout, walk, homer. This is the first Yankees offense I've seen that was great. This is a great offensive team. You can put the pitching aside. You can put the fact that Garrett Cole's on his way, all that aside. You can put the fact that Carlos Rodon has rebounded. The fact that we're getting the best version of Luis Gil, something that none of us predicted would happen. All of that aside on the mound, look what's happening with the bats. We go out there and score 4 runs in the 9th inning. I'm here to tell you right now, the way the Yankees used to play, they had to be on schedule offensively. If they didn't give you 2 or 3 runs in the first 3 or 4 innings of a game, they were laying down and losing. That's what was happening. This team's different. The leadership looks different. The energy looks different. The style of play is different. You can say this team, and I've said it before, can get a lot more athletic. They didn't really do that. Yeah, it's a little more athletic due to some promotions in the lineup with Anthony Volpe hitting leadoff. Love that Boone did that. He executed that early in the season instead of waiting around all year long. He actually made the decision. He's going to pull the trigger, rip the Band-Aid off, put Volpe, the 22-year-old, up there at the leadoff spot. This team looks more athletic. They look more all around. We're elite. Elite offensively. You're actually looking at the 8-hitter. Gleyber Torres is hitting 8th. Gleyber Torres is a player we described last year as being a second or third best. At worst, he was our third best hitter. That's where we are. Trevino's having an excellent year. Jake, last episode, you described him as a player who might make it to an all-star game. I kind of agree with you. He's hitting 9th. That's where this team is offensively. So you can break down games all you want, But personnel wise, this is the first time I've been happy about a Yankees offense, all the else aside.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have Pop in your lineup. And they were doing the little things too. I got to give them a lot of credit. Judge stole 2 bases today. Volpe with that speed, his helmet flies off before he even gets to first, which is always comical. But Volpe with that speed, picking up his 5th triple of the year. He's one of the league leaders in triples. I mean, that's insane. Stanton with the double. I will say this. Stanton, you mentioned Verdugo. You already know where I'm going with this, buddy. Verdugo hits almost that same exact 3-run double that Soto hit. Or was it a triple? I think it was a triple, actually.
It was a triple. Yeah.
Yeah. The wild, same, the same ballpark. You're like, what is that? Yeah, wild 3-run triple. But obviously Verdugo has a double. How in the hell did Stanton not score? How in the hell?
Are you actually asking me?
No, I know.
You gotta hit a ball.
I know.
You gotta hit a ground ball to Pluto for him to get home. He's a station to station player, which is fine. But I know it's crazy. It's crazy.
It was
if you run the bases, you're gonna be like, you almost got to shut off your brain and have no expectations. He's kind of balling in all these other categories, so I don't care personally. It's just when he struggles offensively, and then you watch him run the bases like that, then you're like, all right, now we got to find a remedy. Shit.
It's just like it was 3-1, and I thought Verdugo took the lead right on that swing, and it was weird because Michael K, he was so emphatic with that call. Great call, by the way. That I thought Stanton scored, and he's like, it's Stanton stays at third. And I was like, what? I just lost it. I was like, there's no way. Of course there's a way. But then you had the Ramos single, which was really going to make me rip my hair out. That was annoying. Scores 2. They kept hitting those line drives that would barely Verdugo could make that play, but Verdugo lays out and misses it. That's gonna be a ground rule double, or not ground rule double, inside the park home run.
Verdugo's been great defensively in left field.
He has, but he was also smart. Yeah, he was also smart. Like I said, we've seen him make those diving plays. If you have the confidence, you can't just be like, I think I'm there. No. You have to know I'm making this play. 100%. And he knew he wasn't going to, so he saved what probably ends up being an inside the park home run. I have a bone to pick with Dennis Santana. He is #not good. Dennis Santana continues to give up runs. Okay, 5 ERA. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to bring him up because if I bring him up, I mean, you guys already know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Marinaccio, but it's just they still haven't done it. I heard today, or I saw today, somebody commented on my post because I was like, why is he not up? Why is Dennis Santana? Yeah, the reasoning was options. I'm like, what does that mean? Here's my thing. Okay, you don't need to send Marinaccio down. When he comes back up, he can stay. Because you know how I know that? At no point in Marinaccio's Yankee career being called up to the majors has he looked as pedestrian as Caleb Ferguson or Dennis Santana. So
not that I've seen.
Stop? Yeah. Can we stop with this options thing? Stop making stop defending Brian Cashman, because Brian Cashman has done a good job this year. We've given him his props. But there is no rationale behind not having him. Okay, Marinaccio's worst year, when everyone was getting on his back, was last year. Which, newsflash, the Yankees sucked last year. To their standards. He was 4-5 with a 3.99 ERA. Okay? And he had a 1.31 whip. Before that, he had a 2.05 ERA. Okay? And This year, he had a 1.42. So Marinaccio's career ERA is 286, right? So remember I said that. So 286, and then you have Dennis Santana. Do you know what Dennis Santana's career ERA is?
What is it?
It's 509. I mean, he's got a 5 ERA right now.
Yeah,
he's
this is
exactly who he is. Well, what about Caleb Ferguson, you may ask, right? Caleb
he's got to be a little
Ferguson.
better.
Caleb Ferguson has a 3.58. He has a 3.58 ERA, but he has a 5.3 ERA right now. Marinaccio, as I said, has never been as bad as Ferguson or what we're seeing out of Dennis Santana this season. Another thing, Marinaccio, okay? 44 innings, 56 strikeouts in 2022. In 2023, 47 and a third, 56 strikeouts. Okay. 45 games pitched in 2023, 40 games pitched in 2022. And in 2024, he has 10 strikeouts and 12 and 2/3 innings. So what I've seen is that he's less of a strikeout pitcher, but he's been more efficient, right? He's getting soft contact, not allowing runs. And for whatever reason, this dude at age 28, by the way, it's not like he's 24 and we're trying to keep his options. 28 and we're worried about options. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? What are we doing?
Well, maintaining his options, right? Because we're talking about maintaining his options, Marinaccio. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is that down the road, which would be 2025, not this year, but 2025, we have more leeway. I was told the Yankees were in a win now season. Now, again, we're winning a ton of games. It's not a huge problem here. But we have to justify why different players are on the team. It's our job as podcasters. I have to figure out, what do you do on the field? Okay, I see what you do. I see your strengths. I see your flaws, right? We weigh those strengths and flaws, and then we make determinations on if that player should be playing. Now, if a team is considered one of, if not the best team in the American League, the last spots on the roster should be actually very good players. When you look at the 98 Yankees and you talk about their best players, they're household names, of course. But what makes them an all-time great team is the players who fill out the end of the bench, because you need impact from everybody at some point in the season. I don't anticipate having impact from Dennis Santana. I don't anticipate having value from Caleb Ferguson. I've already seen value from Marinaccio. So that's the reason why, Jake, you're asking him to be called up, because, and I feel like I can be very deliberate with this take, I've seen him be great. I've never seen these two be good outside of a Dodgers uniform for Ferguson. That doesn't entice me to say you should be on the field. So for me personally, I don't give a rip about options. You know, maybe some people, some listeners today, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You can care about those options. You can care about the flexibility, because obviously Hal Steinbrenner mentioned this team's going to have to make some pay cuts, right? We're going to have to make some things work. Well, part of that is having some flexibility with options. Totally get it. But you can't have somebody who's just total ass on the roster because of options for 2025. That player who's replacing him, who's, okay, we can't call you up because you have an option, that player's still got to do a professional job. If he's not a professional and he's basically not making any positive impact, well, then I have to start questioning who's making these decisions. I mean, it's just, I don't get it.
I mean, he was drafted in the 2017 MLB draft in the 19th round. Okay. He's going to be 29 in July. He's a free agent in 2029. What are we doing? Like, oh, well, you know, no. He's not a free agent until 2029. And we already know he's an MLB pitcher. See, this is what I don't like. This is when I actually do have an issue with the whole service time and all that. Because this is bullshit, okay? He's better than guys that are currently on your 26 or 25-man roster. Full stop. I know he's on the 40-man roster. Which, by the way, if he's on the 40-man roster, then they don't have to do anything for that, right? They can just put him on, like there shouldn't even be an option, right?
Well, I guess technically, even if someone's on the 40-man, to send them down to AAA, you're using options, which they just like having the flexibility of saying, okay, well, you have an option, and that guy, like, we need to send you down to make this spot for a spot starter. Because that's like essentially what the Yankees do, is they'll call somebody up. And again, I feel like the Yankees right now are wasting 2 spots on the roster. Those are 2 wasted spots. They're just a total joke.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I'm not too broken up about it. We're winning a ton of games. We rake. This team rakes. Sorry about it. People can be upset all you want. The Yankees have never shown up to the yard and had a better offense than the other team every night. They do. They show up. Doesn't matter who they play. Unless they play the Dodgers, which the Dodgers are pretty light on the back end of their lineup. Like the bottom of their lineup is just kind of meh. It's okay. They're historic at the top of the lineup. Ridiculously good. We have maybe a lesser top of our lineup. You can say 1 through 4, they might be a little better as a total unit. They're not touching us 5 through 9, not touching us. So when we show up to the yard and we're talking about the details of what do we do with Dennis Santana and Caleb Ferguson, ask another fan who the hell those 2 guys are. They don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. Right. So that's when you know, Jake, we're in good shape when we're talking about the 26th man on the freaking roster and calling a dude up from AAA. We're winning every night, and you can't just get overly comfortable with winning games because baseball's fickle. We can go on an 8-game losing streak starting tomorrow. But given what we've done so far this year, we're better at everything than any other team. Everything. So when we talk about roster spot 25 and 26, and we think we can do a little bit better with it, essentially what we're saying is those little stints where, you kind of catch a snag, you go on a losing streak, some of those 25th and 26th guys on the roster can kind of say something about that. They can actually have an impact. So that's the reason we bring it up, And by the way, Jake, I'm not going to let you off the hook. Before the show started, you were mentioning about Nestor Cortez. You weren't really, you weren't feeling it, which is interesting because I like Nestor personally, but like I said before, he's our 6th best starter.
Yeah, I just rather I'm kind of over him. Like it's kind of like a natural thing for me. Like I was a big fan of his, and now I'm just kind of like, when he leaves, which is going to happen, he's going to leave in free agency. When he leaves, I'll be okay. I'm not going to be broken up about it. Same thing with Rizzo. I like Rizzo. But when, Rizzo's time is done, I'm ready to move on. Like I have this like, kind of natural parting of the ways. Like that's my mind. Okay. Now,
most people don't have that.
If they win the World Series or whatever, or, whatever, I'm not ever going to forget them being a part of the roster. But I'm just thinking, I like to look ahead a little bit. Not too far ahead and say they're going to win the World Series 100% or anything like that. But just like, I think it's normal for us. I mean, we're talking about Juan Soto every night. Juan Soto is not signed past this year. So it's normal, I think, to look at the future or question the future, wonder what the future looks like. Torres, we talk about him all the time. Will he be on this roster? That things like that. But I do want to, go back to this game because Doval got absolutely manhandled in the 9th inning. And he's a very talented pitcher. Michael Tonkin pitched very well, only gave up 1 hit. He walked a batter, but he had 2 strikeouts in 2 innings, and he got the win.
I don't know what the Yankees saw on him, but it's working so far.
Guess where they got Michael Tonkin from? You'll never guess this.
Hold on. San Diego.
No.
Who?
Take a guess.
The Giants?
The Mets. The Mets didn't want him.
I'm assuming Mets fans on Twitter were probably talking about, they want our sloppy seconds, right? And then they get Severino and didn't say the same thing, which is ironic. So
that sounds like, yeah, Gary, let the butt hurt flow through you. I'm the Mets hater on here. You're always like, no, I don't hate the Mets. No, you gotta come hate the Mets. It's so much.
I love their field. Citi Field, in my opinion, is just phenomenal. It's so good. I love Citi Field. Love their broadcast crew.
My bad. The
What?
Mets traded him away to the Twins, and then the Twins cut him almost instantaneously.
Well, I can tell you this. Earlier in the season, our chat was complaining to us, right? Because like we're starting to build an audience. They're complaining to us about Tonkin, which we mentioned. We brought it up. We talked about it.
Well,
And
Tonkin's
we
just a
said it.
meme.
I
He's
don't
a
see it.
6'7". Who the hell is this guy type of guy? And he's been pitching well. I mean, we got to give him his due. You know,
At least in the short term, he's been doing his job.
yeah,
So
his
I
ERA
can't
is
complain.
3. I'll take it. It's not 5 like Santana. We liked Santana when he was pitching well. Now he's not, and it's been a pattern. And this is who he is. I mean, the data, Mr. Data over here will tell you this. The data tells us that Dennis Santana is a career 5 ERA guy, and he has a 5.01 ERA. So he has now settled at his own little Mendoza line, and he's not changing. He's not going to get much better, and he's not going to get much worse. This is what he is. So is a 5 ERA good enough for you to come out of the bullpen? For me, I don't think an ERA over 3 is allowed to be in my bullpen. I would be very, pushy about that. I mean,
I'd say end of the roster because I would say Dennis Santana is an end of the roster player. I'd be comfortable with a low 4, like 4.2, 4.3 guy because
okay, maybe
Dennis
that.
Santana, he's situated into the season. This is not like a 10-game sample size. He is 20 appearances. He's thrown 23 in a third innings. So, yeah, it's not a total season. We get it. If he pitches at this rate, he's going to have like 45, 50 appearances.
He won't be on the playoff roster, though. He's not making it.
No, I don't anticipate him being on the playoff roster, but great teams like players like Dennis Santana, unfortunately, like they always have to exist. They're just guys during the regular season. It's a long season, and in my opinion, we have better options. That's all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Better options.
you look at the Giants, and their bullpen did a really nice job. I mean, Walker, he had 2 strikeouts. Rogers, they have Taylor and Tyler Rogers, which is kind of funny. Doval got destroyed, but aside from that, I mean, I thought their bullpen looked pretty decent. Now, with this game, Cortez, pretty solid outing. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but I'll take it because, like we always say, I mean, if you pitch 4 innings, at least 4 innings, and you only give up 3 runs, the Yankees should win most of those games. And they did. And, Santana gave the other 2 up, whatever. They figured out a way to win. Looking at the lineup, LeMahieu goes 1 for 5 today. Still really like his approach at the plate. I think he looks really good. He had a hell of a play at third. Really, really tough play. He's like fading away, throwing, against his body, and he gets it to Rizzo, who scoops it. So that's good because, I mean, Rizzo's been having an issue, defensively this year. Torres, he kind of changed up his leg kick at times. On 2 strikes, I noticed he's been doing that more.
They talked about that on the broadcast earlier this season. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought did a really good job talking about it. Last year, he completely removed his leg kick with 2 strikes. This year, contract year, maybe he's pressing a little bit, got off to a slow start. He doesn't do that anymore. And to be honest with you, that's what I've never understood about Major League Baseball is you're a professional hitter, obviously a millionaire to do the job. He does a really good job. But why would you do something one way and it works and then reinvent the wheel the next year? I should be able to recognize the way you play the game. It shouldn't change from year to year unless you already struggled. So if Gleyber Torres played really well last year, why would you change it? Yeah. I don't get it.
I do not like the leg kick. I think it's way too much going on because the whole point of a batting stance or a pitching motion is you do all that wonky stuff, whatever you find comfortable to get yourself in the right spot every single time. The load step, your bat waggle, all of that. Whatever gets you in the right spot at the right time, that fits you. I mean, we can laugh about all these 1920 pitchers. They had all these weird motions, but the results speak for themselves. And you use the motion, you use the batting stance to get yourself in the best position to succeed and have your mechanics all lined up. I mean, Euclid's was just, I don't even have words, man.
Why
That
don't we
shit
use
was
Justin
dumb as
Turner as
shit.
a perfect example? Justin Turner, he wasn't a rookie with the Dodgers. Justin Turner has been in Major League Baseball. He was not good. He goes to LA. He gets the leg kick going. Now, most times, like most often, when a player adds a leg kick, you assume that he's sacrificing contact so that he can hit for more power. That's what you assume. But for a lot of guys, which you're pretty much getting at, is it could be a timing mechanism. You wouldn't think that my dad's bat waggle would help him at all make contact, right? It would probably be easier for him to just stand there and just have a basic generic batting stance, right? It would be better for him to have the batting stance of Michael Young, per se, right? A more basic Miguel Cairo, right? Miguel Cairo didn't have anything crazy going on in the batter's box. Would my dad have been better off hitting that way, right? Because obviously my dad has more talent, but is hitting this way, is it going to make you hit for less contact? For him, it didn't. For my dad, it made him make more contact. Justin Turner, same thing. Gleyber Torres, who we're discussing right now, he objectively makes less solid contact the bigger his leg kick gets. Every single time he dials back his leg kick, he starts figuring it out. He makes more quality outs, right? He hits more line drives instead of popping
So
the ball up to the
bizarre.
right side. It does not make sense. Now, he can do what he wants to do. It's his money. But again, when we cover the Yankees and we talk about different players we want traded, different players we want to stay, give you a contract extension, how am I supposed to vouch for you to get a contract extension for $100 million, which is, I'm sure he's going to be asking for, if you can't figure out how you want to go about your business from a day in and day out basis? That on my
It's
end looks
really
ridiculous.
weird.
I can't
It,
do
it,
it.
it does. I want to ask you though, real quick, with your dad's batting stance, the bat waggle, did that
Yeah.
like in some way maybe get him pumped up for the at bat? Because you're doing that and you're putting a lot of, you start flexing a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I could see people have different routines, like before they go and lift weights or what,
Yeah.
like boxing, was it something like that? Like where you start to see the flex and like I don't know how hard he was holding it. Did he have like a lighter? I don't know, but
No, my
I could
dad
see.
wasn't squeezing the bat. No, I can honestly tell you, when he was in the minor leagues, a hitting coach told him, you need to do something to get your bat going because he was struggling with the slider. So what he decided was that you need to get some level of motion in your batting stance, but also that motion is not just wasted motion. A lot of people think he was just waggling the bat just for style and for fun. He wasn't. It was all a timing mechanism to the release point. That's all he cared about. My dad actually, and this is going to surprise some people because it seemed like he was so angry and aggressive on the field. He's actually one of the more technical hitters of all time. And that is the reason that he's a Hall of Fame player. Now, hopefully he actually gets into the Hall of Fame, right? And the writers, not the writers, but I guess the players can put him in the whatever you call him. But it was technical. I'm waggling my bat, and this is not just random violence. This is okay. The release point, I want my bat to be here every single time, there, and so it sounds ridiculous.
Well, no, it doesn't, because I remember watching. So he would do that with the step because he'd have a little step and then he'd come through. I think that makes sense. I mean, Jeter does the same thing, when he had and then he would, like, I mean, I definitely see it. A-Rod had one where he would go like up and down like this, and then he started circling it a little bit, and then he'd have the leg kick, and then so. I get it.
Alex
I think
Rodriguez hit. Watch A-Rod hit. Just what you brought up. A-Rod likes to do this. He wants to. The whole idea is you want to be in the exact same spot when you decide to swing at the ball. Watch Gleyber Torres hit. Okay, if you watch Gleyber Torres hit when the ball's on his way, not saying Gleyber Torres is a bad hitter. He's great, right?
No,
he's
the leg kick is. it's almost, you know what the leg kick reminds me of? You might
What?
laugh. It reminds me of Mariano Rivera's motion.
Really?
Look at it
I'm gonna have
again.
to watch that. I'm gonna
Look
watch
at
it
it
again.
again. His leg has like, it kicks inward. See, A-Rod's, your dad's step, Jeter, none of them have an inward leg. No one has an inward leg. He's the only one I've ever seen that has like a pitcher's leg kick. It's
I
bizarre.
was looking for a bat. Okay, so if you watch Gleyber Torres hit, I know, and of course I've had this conversation with my dad, so I'm not just pulling this topic out my ass. The
Yeah.
reason Gleyber Torres can be streaky one day, the next day he's popping up, is because he doesn't know where the bat head is. Okay? If you watch Alex Rodriguez hit in 1999, you would see where his load is. You can take a picture of where he is. Albert Pujols, Tony Gwynn, same thing. Take a picture when the ball's being released. What do their hands look like? If you look at Gleyber Torres, his bat actually waggles in a circle as the ball's
Yeah.
coming out of the hand. So it's not that he has no clue where the bat is, he's not sure. And so that's the reason why he can go 2 weeks, just rake. And you're like, this guy, he should be a Yankee till 2030. I want this guy around. And I really like Gleyber Torres personally. I think he's been actually very good for the Yankees, but he's wildly inconsistent. This is one of the reasons why. So he probably more than any other player in this lineup could benefit from having an all-time great hitter, at least in his ear, where he has more understanding of like what's going on with his mechanics, because you can watch Gleyber Torres, you can just hide him at 8th in the lineup and no one bats an eye. Did you see a single Yankees fan complain that Gleyber Torres was hitting 8th today? I didn't.
How wild is that lineup, by the way? Rizzo 7th, Torres 8th,
Yeah.
Trevino 9th. I mean, yeah, I don't want to pile too much on Gleyber, but it seems like something, and Rowson's done an excellent job this year as the hitting coach, but it seems like something that maybe the hitting coach should have already like, hey, and maybe it's something that he has tried to, and maybe he's stuck in his ways. I don't know, but it's bizarre because you watch him with 2 strikes and there's no leg kick, which tells me it's almost like admitting the leg kick doesn't work for him, but he does it for show. And then 2 strikes when it really matters, when you really need to get a hit, when you need to shorten up, that's when you're not doing your leg kick. See, that
he'd be a way
better
player doing that the whole time.
Oh, easily. And I mean, if he had a straight up leg kick, he'd be a much better player. I'm telling you, that Mariano Rivera leg kick is bizarre. It's just, I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I don't want to get too much in it because again, like the Yankees won this game and they won the series. They freaking swept them. But it is something, I wanted to point out. Now let's go back to the game prior. Cody Poteet thought he pitched well, right? Logan Webb, I think, has pitched more innings than anybody in the majors, which didn't really shock me because they kept him in for 7 innings.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? I mean, it was like, okay, well, clearly,
like, whatever.
he didn't have it, right?
Bullpen.
So, like, the Yankees were taking great swings, and they just left like one of their big horses out there, and that was weird to see. It was almost like reminiscent of those CC days where CC would go out there and give up 5 and 2 innings, and we just leave him out there. Which, maybe you can argue there's value in it, but it was weird.
It was weird. What was even weirder is seeing Soto, Judge, Verdugo, and Stanton all have multi-hit games. That's a lot of dominance right there in the lineup. I mean, you had back-to-back 11-hit games. So the Yankees had 22 hits in the last 2 games. They had 8 in the first game, but staying with the second game, Poteet looked really good. He's looked really good. He is a bottom of the rotation starting pitcher in this league, in my opinion. So the Yankees have to feel good about him. Clark Schmidt, whatever, if he were to have any sort of complication, a setback, whatever, I think Poteet could be that guy in a pinch. I think for anybody. I mean, we talked about, you mentioned the data with Stroman. If anyone were to go down, Poteet is that six man that can be a game changer. That I don't think many. First off, I don't think many people realized how good he was going to be because I sure as hell didn't. We mentioned him on the first episode, believe it or not, as one of the trades that were made, but we didn't really know what we were getting with Cody Poteet. The reality of the situation is he's wicked comfortable pitching in the major leagues, which is a big issue that a lot of young pitchers face is when they finally get called up from AAA. AAA stats be damned. They get to the major leagues and they do not look ready.
We
That's
also
not the
did our
case for
part, right?
Poteet.
The offense also did their part in
Yeah.
helping him be comfortable. When you go out and face Logan Webb, I promise you, Poteet was showing up. I guarantee you, Aaron Boone got right in his ear and said, let me tell you something. Your job today, just keep us in the game. We know you're a big leaguer. We know you're good enough to pitch here. Go out and do your thing. If we don't score, we're not winning anyway. So go out there and make your pitches. And
Yeah.
long behold, he made some mistakes, but you go 5 innings, you give up 3, 2 of those being earned. But the Yankees put a beat down on Logan Webb right away. When you see that as a young player, you don't have to be all uptight. Last year, we were talking about it all the time. Okay, this offense comes out, you lay a goose egg for the first 5 innings. How hard is it to be Garrett Cole when you know you can't make a mistake? But what does it mean in inverse of that? When you bring a young player out and he knows that Aaron Judge and Verdugo and Juan Soto are going to go out there and get the job done, they don't have to overdo it. You can actually pitch to the strike zone, play your game, pitch the way you did in AAA. They're good enough to be in the big leagues. And for the first time, Jake, I actually believe the Yankees when they tell me that they believe in young players. When you tell me that we've got guys in AAA, but you don't play them, you don't have guys. Or you don't have the balls to play them. And we actually do. So you've got to give not just Boone, but actually you got to give Brian Cashman credit, because in these situations, it's really easy to say, hey, we're short a guy. We don't really have the starter we want. Here's what we'll do. We'll bring it out an opener. Hopefully we get to Logan Webb, and then we're burning the bullpen. We might win the game, but we're losing long term. So the fact that we can bring Poteet out and then he can essentially take control of the game right away. Offensively, we take control. Well, now teams are in trouble because when we're in situations, guys are going to get hurt. Guys will get hurt. Maybe not Garrett Cole again, but somebody else will go down. We have a history of injuries. So if that's happening,
games.
Yeah, you can just bring a young player out and you actually give him a real opportunity. You actually give him real run support and an opportunity to go deeper into the game and show what he can do. I thought Poteet did that. And Michael Kay actually mentioned on the broadcast that, some people, a scout actually reached out to him and said, this Poteet guy can pitch. The Yankees actually got something here. And so far, so good.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything like devastating, but he's fun to watch. He's efficient. He gets through guys. And, we saw the glimpse of what he was in that doubleheader. I mean, he came out, he pitched 6 scoreless. I mean, he's a good pitcher. Does he ever end up being an ace? Well, he doesn't have to be. The Yankees have that covered, but he doesn't have to be, and he's probably not going to be. The point is, though, if you can find a rotation guy, even bottom of the rotation, just out of thin air like that, you're doing something right. When Judge hit that home run, the 2-run shot to start this game, I said this game's done. Like, as soon as I saw Webb give up the 2-run shot, I was like, oh, they have no chance. Because I felt like Cody Poteet was going to be really consistent once again. They were going to get 5 out of him, maybe give up 1 run. He gave up more. He also, to be fair, had to go up against Casey Schmidt, who is basically Reggie Stocker, John Dowd, and Barry Bonds when he goes up against the Yankees.
I really hope our audience is of age to know what you just said. I really do, because if you know who John Dowd is, you're an OG.
OG.
No, but that ball
Reggie
that Aaron
Stocker,
Judge
the
hit,
2K version.
Dude, that ball Aaron Judge hit was absolutely just crapped all over.
Yeah.
And it's like we know what's coming. Genuinely. Like it legitimately looks like Aaron Judge was jumpy, right? He was very reactive to breaking balls. He couldn't really lay off that whole backdoor. It was we were watching the same at bat for the first month. We were watching the comeback fastball away that he wouldn't pull the trigger on, and then he would check swing or he didn't really know what to do on the slider outside the zone. Right now, Aaron Judge, like he'll take a strike and he's like, I don't give a rat's ass. That's why they give me 3. You're in trouble.
Yeah,
You're in trouble the second I get in the batter's box, and it is he's making them pay.
He is the best player in baseball. And again, I understand Ohtani this, Ohtani that. The issue is, and I continue to bring it up, and I will continue to bring it up, Ohtani and him are the same age. So again, it's not like Ohtani's 22. But also, Ohtani's not pitching. So I don't give a shit. Ohtani is a fantastic player. Ohtani is not the best player in the world right now. The
Next
thing
year
that
he
makes him
probably
the
will
best,
be, but not this year.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that makes him the best player in the world is the fact he can do something that no one else can. He's essentially Babe Ruth. He can pitch and he can hit. And he not just pitch. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Not just hit. He's one of the best hitters in baseball.
Stupid, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So when he's doing that, absolutely. You have 100% every right to believe he is the best. But I'm sorry, Dodger fans. I'm sorry, Ohtani fans. Right now, and Ben Verlander, right now, Ohtani is not the best player in baseball. Right this second. Gary, who is? It's Aaron Judge. And you know who the second best player in baseball is? It's Juan Soto.
Juan Soto? Yeah.
They have the 2 best. So that brings me to what you wanted to talk about.
What's up?
This the best duo that we've ever seen in a lineup? And I would say this is the best duo since Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. And I'll say this, today, Lou Gehrig Day, everyone wearing the 4 patch. Love it. It was great. We're talking about the second game right now, but today they did wear it. Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, they did not go up against the competition Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are going up against. So I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy. But this is some of the toughest competition that any hitter's ever had to go up against. You got crazy spin rate. You got all these analytics. People know their chase rate, their whiff rate, all these analytics. Everyone has a scouting report on everybody. And yet somehow going up against guys that have sweeping sliders and, 104 mile an hour fastballs, Judge is leading the league in home runs with 21. And not only that, Gary, Judge has more home runs, 3 more than he did at this point last year. Or not last year, 2 years ago when he was on pace. When he actually hit 62. And Juan Soto, who right now, like you predicted before the season started that he would win the batting title, is currently winning the batting title in the AL. He's only behind Jurickson Profar for batting average in the major leagues. And Juan Soto is in the top 4 in home runs. And when you think of Juan Soto, you don't think of like a guy that just hits tons of home runs, right? You think of more of a 5-tool player. Think of a guy that can impact the game all over the place.
You mentioned pure hitter, right? He's
pure hitter.
Pure
exactly. I mean, that's what he is. But I think his defense doesn't get rewarded enough. I think he's gotten so much better. And his arm is deadly. I mean, we already saw him win a game this year based on his arm. So I think those two, it might seem a little hyperbolic. It might seem a little knee-jerk. We've only seen him play, I'm trying to be fair here. We've only seen him play, 62 games together? But that's the best duo I've ever seen in baseball. Period. That is the best duo. And if Garrett Cole was having the Cy Young season he had last year, that would be the best trio I've ever seen. Period.
They're pretty good.
I mean,
let me say this.
The Yankees did it the right way. They did it the right way going out and getting some.
I mean, this shit is working. But let me say this. This whole Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, because I was a little worried based on how it started. I was like, okay, it seems like we're going to get, Juan Soto is the best player in baseball right now. Aaron Judge is doing nothing. It almost felt like at some point or another, Aaron Judge is going to turn it on. And then Juan Soto is kind of cooling off. You remember that? Maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Juan Soto was kind of going through a thing. He was hitting ball hard, flying out to the wall. He was striking out a lot. We were just like, this is weird, right? But it's like they traded places. Now we're not at that phase. Right now, it's two players in their prime, one of which is 25. In the next 10 years of his career is prime years. So when you see Juan Soto in the Hall of Fame and you see his stats, because you will turn his baseball card around. I know a lot of people are like, what the hell's a baseball card? Because they don't turn anything around anymore. But go to Baseball Reference. You're going to see NYY drag down his baseball card for 15 years.
Absolutely.
And
And
it's
his
going
bust
to
will have an NY on it.
Yeah, and it'll be stars next to every single season. And you're going to say 11-time All-Star Juan Soto, the Yankee, going into the Hall of Fame. That's what we're going to be talking about. Now, having said this, for me, the reason I give this duo the edge over a lot of other duos is because of fit. There are duos that I can mention, Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, offensively, that just struck fear into major league teams. But one thing's for certain, some of them were DHs, right? Some of them were like first baseman. No, we're talking about our starting center fielder and our starting right fielder. What are we talking about right now?
I
This
know.
team, if you actually asked me last year, you asked me not just last year, 7 years prior, what does this team really need? What do the Yankees need? We see Aaron Judge. I see what he's great at. He's all-time great. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame as well. But what's the perfect pairing for him? It would have been a contact lefty bat. That's what anyone would have told you. We need a lefty bat that doesn't strike out, who probably does some damage power-wise, but based on what the Yankees need, they might not need power because like we have Luke Voigt and we have all these dudes, right? The Yankees added a dude who's a lefty contact power bat. What are we talking about? This is perfect. You hated Joey Gallo's signing, right? We traded for him. You
That
absolutely
was
hated it.
such trash.
A lot of
Trash.
other people loved it, and here's why. He was a lefty, right? He was a lefty. That was it. He defensively, analytics said he was a good outfielder. I never saw that version of Joey Gallo, unfortunately, and I was rooting for the guy. But he was considered a fit because he was a lefty. It's the reason we went and traded for his ass. But let's be clear. Juan Soto is the best fit you could ever ask for. There was no other fit. There's not another player I would hand select. There's nobody. The only person that you can be like, oh yeah, that guy would have been as good or like comparable of a fit is just throwing Shohei Ohtani onto the Yankees. And we're talking about, again, Jake, another player that is going to be a first ticket Hall of Famer. It's ridiculous. The level of talent we're seeing in baseball is just silly. And, obviously we're very lucky to be hosting a baseball show, watching all this talent. And it's silly. And I never thought personally that Brian Cashman would have the balls to actually go ahead and pull the trigger on a trade, because now in Yankee land, there's expectations. Before, the expectation was playoff berth. Well, we got a shot. That was the expectation. Hal Steinbrenner said that. Our expectation is to have a shot. We don't have a shot now. Now we have expectations. People look at this team, they turn on Yes Network, and they say, this team has got to get it done. They've got you've got to push all our chips to the center of the table, go win a World Series, because based on what we're seeing on the field, not on paper, on the field, this is a World Series championship team. And the big reason why is because of those two guys you're talking about hitting 2 and 3. It's ridiculous how good these guys are.
It is. It absolutely is. By the way, the Yankees have 4 players that are top 10 in WAR. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Anthony Volpe, and Luis Gil. Anthony Volpe, he has a 792 OPS. So at first glance, some might be like, Volpe has been just as important as anybody in this lineup. He's setting the table for Juan Soto to have a 2-run shot. He's setting the table for the Yankees to have that comeback that they had in today's game. And I just feel like people don't understand how amazing that duo is, but this trio is pretty good too. Now, is Volpe on the level of Soto and Judge? We're talking about upper echelon, elite, generational players. No. Maybe someday Volpe's, and he hits 324, he hits 30 home runs at shortstop. I'm not ruling it out, but as of
Well, he
right
doesn't.
now,
I don't think he needs to hit 30 homers because if you really think about it,
no, he doesn't.
Did Derek Jeter ever hit close to 30 homers?
No, I think the most he hit was like 20, 21, maybe
20,
24.
21, 18, 19, 16. But of course, that batting average is way up there. He was a table setter for great players
That's
around
what
him. Bernie Williams,
Volpe's
Posada.
doing.
It's what Volpe's doing right now. So
And
I
I
know it's
love seeing it.
ridiculous to compare him, but at the same time, Volpe is doing his job. I predicted that Volpe would hit 280 this year. And a lot of people said, well, I'd take 250 because they were looking at his season last year and it was more power oriented. But the reason I said 280 was because what he said he was working on, he proved he worked on it. I'm going to level my swing. And that told me the power game is going to fade a little bit. A little bit. He's still going to hit 15, 18 homers, but he's not going to be that 25 homer guy that he thought he was last year. And that's the reason why I said his batting average is going to creep up. He's going to make more hard contact. And long and behold, he's starting to figure out how to get on base without getting a hit. His batting average continues to climb. He's the ultimate table setter right now in pinstripes. And thankfully, our management actually made the decision to put this guy in that spot because he didn't have to do that. As much as we said he should, he could have just done status quo job, thrown DJ LeMahieu because he's making $16 million this year, thrown him at leadoff. We would have complained for 2 weeks and we would have moved on. So I'm telling you guys, we got to give credit where it's due. Boone actually did a job here.
He did. He did. He absolutely did. I thought it was smart. There are obviously people that wanted to blame the losing streak on him being in the leadoff spot. Well, losing streak is gone. Winning streak is back, by the way. They could just continue to rip off winning streaks. We didn't really talk about, but Volpe having a 21 game hitting streak was insane. That was awesome. But even, the first game, as we wrap this thing up, the first game, we talked about it. We said, Jordan Hicks, this guy, he's got a lot of talent. This is a game that I even said I could see this being like a 2-1 ball game. They have to beat up on the bullpen. And Stroman pitched 7 1/3. Okay. He looked really good in this one. Really good in this one. Luke Weaver looked really good in this one. But no one looked better than Aaron Judge, who hit 2 home runs in this. Juan Soto hit 2 home runs in the last game of the series. Hicks, both of them were off Hicks. Judge, let's be honest here. If you think that going up against the Giants had no effect on Aaron Judge, you're out of your mind, okay? He wanted to put on a show. He's from San Francisco. He was booed to hell at the beginning, which I laugh at because here's the deal, okay? If Judge was a Giant and left for the Yankees, you boo. Why are you booing Judge not signing with your team to go back to where his team was? The team that drafted him, the team that believed in him, the team that developed him. See, I hate booing culture, so I don't necessarily understand it. It just feels like caveman behavior. But regardless, I understand the concept. And sorry, Gary, I'm going to call you out here. If a Saquon Barkley leaves the Giants and of all teams in the league goes to the freaking Eagles, if a Giants fan wants to boo the hell out of him, by all means. I understand Yankee fans. Not even necessarily a rival, although I guess Don Mattingly might call him a rival. The Seattle Mariners, okay? I understand Yankee fans wanting to boo Robinson Cano for leaving to go to the Mariners. Okay. I get that, right? I don't understand, right? The idea of, let's just say, Bryce Harper. There were teams interested in signing Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper chose the Phillies. If you're booing Bryce Harper because he chose a different team than you, when he wasn't already on your team, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not
That's
booing
stupid.
Yamamoto for joining the Dodgers. I'm not rooting for him. But
I
I'm
don't
not
even look at
booing him.
Yamamoto as like he was almost a Yankee. I forgot about that shit. I really did.
Well, yeah,
Like
but you see what I'm
maybe some
saying
other
though?
people are like, oh yeah, like yeah, no, I see completely what you're saying.
It's just like
He actually
bizarre.
turned your team down. You know what it's like? It's like working for State Farm and then you drive by Progressive and then Progressive like offered you more money, but you stayed at your old job because you like the culture. And they're like, boo, you should have
Yeah,
taken a pay raise with us.
we hate
I don't
you.
want to
Like,
be with your organization. I don't want to play with, I don't want to hit. Hold on a second. Hold on, Jake. You think I want to hit with Wilmer Flores hitting 2 in front of me? Get the fuck out of here. Pardon my French. Why would I want to hit with Wilmer Flores hitting 2? Wilmer Flores is a 2-hitter on a bad baseball team. The Giants are 29-30. That's mediocre. Okay. You can argue all you want that they're a better team than what they're presenting. By all means, people could do that. But let's be clear. You look at the team. Wilmer Flores is not winning you a World Series, hitting 2 on any team. It doesn't matter what team. Okay. He's going to go play for that team when Juan Soto could be hitting 2 in front of him. Are you high? I'm telling you, Jake, these people are
yeah.
genuinely. He turned down a pay raise, and he didn't. Okay, why would
So
he
could
play
stay
for a worse
home.
team? Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, and don't get me wrong. Yes, okay. Like people always say, well, he doesn't actually live in New York. He lives in Miami or he lives in Tampa or whatever. And it's like, I understand he's not from New York, but the point is that is also a home. I always see all the time, people always give LeBron shit for going to Cleveland, right? Forcing his way to Cleveland. He's a kid in Akron, goes to Cleveland, has to force his way. But Jordan went to a place and made it his home. That's the thing that's always used, right? From North Carolina to Chicago, then he made Chicago his home. While I think that is ridiculous in a sense, I get the idea of it. Jordan went to school at North Carolina, was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. He made the Chicago Bulls his second home.
Right.
Aaron Judge, well, he was drafted by the A's, but they botched that. Aaron Judge.
Well, he would have been traded up, probably. Let's be honest.
Good one.
Either there or the Braves.
Good one there.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
He's probably still a Yankee.
Yeah.
Team sucks.
No, oh, man.
No offense, Dallas Braves. That team sucks. They're not good. They're bullpenning their way to a 70. They're bullpenning their way to a 69 and 103 win season.
I give their players credit. There's not much else to play there, but yeah, I think Judge he carved out a home with the pinstripes. I mean, Derek Jeter grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's not like he was dying to play for the Detroit Tigers, So, I mean, I don't know. The booing was like mid fan base. That's all I thought. And then I was like, you know what? Am I going to say it? I think I'm going to say it. But not all of them like the Giants. But I was going to say, well, Niners fans, can you expect any different? So
I didn't care at all about the booing. You want me to tell you why?
I just thought it was kind of like lame. That's all. I'm not
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I don't care. If you actually like pay attention, like really not like pay any attention, but take a look at what the bottom feeders of every organization's fan base does. The bottom feeders of the Yankees organization does the following, which essentially they're the same fans that booed in San Francisco. Our fans will boo Jose Altuve. I don't care at all about that Jose Altuve storyline. Yes, you don't boo, but there are Yankees fans who go to Yankee Stadium. The Yankees are up like 7-2. All is good with the world. And Jose Altuve will come up. Jose Altuve could be literally playing in Miami that day.
Oh, I know. I've heard it, and it's just
we are literally cheering at Yankee Stadium. F Altuve, like that has any bearing at all. First of all, Jose
Why are
Altuve is
you
going to be a first
admitting
ballot
to
Hall of Famer.
wanting to be little brother? That's what I don't understand. Because that's what
I
you're
have
doing.
no idea.
That's
When
literally
the Red Sox fans say Yankees suck when they're not playing us, because it happens every once in a while, right? At Fenway Park.
little
Every
brother.
once in a while, it appears like you're thinking about us when you should be thinking about the fact that you're in 4th or 5th place. That's what you should be thinking about, not this storyline. So I say
thought
all
you were
that to
gonna
say
say
that,
4th or 5th grade.
oh yeah, they might as well be in 4th or 5th grade. It's silly, but the bottom feeders of every organization are just dumb. They are dumb. They go to Yankee Stadium and go, I hate Jose Altuve. People come up to me because I'm a podcaster with the Yankees, obviously, and people will come up to me or send me private messages and be like, I just can't stand Jose Altuve. I'm like, for what? This was 2017. Jake, it's almost 8 years ago. Why would I care
Oh, I
about
don't
something
care.
that happened
You know what
that
happened in
long ago?
2017? Sean McVay was hired as coach of the Rams.
I should have known you were going Rams there.
I mean, but what is it? 2018. So I don't even think Avengers Endgame had come out yet. That's what we're talking about
Who
here.
gives a shit about 2017? It's a non-starter conversation, which of course, like I have to acknowledge, the average Yankees fan doesn't care anymore about that situation. But it kind of just goes to show you, if you watch baseball on TV, not everybody that goes to the stadium, you can create momentum that just looks like shit on TV because you don't watch any baseball. Like the last baseball you watch is like in the postseason. You show up for one game a year and then you turn it on for the postseason again and then tell everybody you're a baseball fan. And then half the year you're just golfing your ass off. I'm telling you, that's a lot of baseball fans is that. You know, not most, but there are a lot of bottom feeders. So I tend to ignore them and just acknowledge. I think the average Giants fan would say, we wished we got Aaron Judge. It didn't happen. And they're still looking for a franchise cornerstone because obviously Matt Chapman is not that.
Matt Chapman is one of the most overrated players. I never liked that guy. I just never understood it. On the A's,
I think
everyone's
he's
like,
really
oh,
good when he's on, but he's just obviously highly streaky offensively. You can't be a superstar and then tell me your best asset is your glove. I'm sorry.
you
Your
can't get
best
mad
asset,
at Aaron
you got to
Judge
hit.
for not wanting to play for a team with Soler, Matt Chapman, Matos, Ramos, Wisely. I mean, Casey Schmidt is, like I said, he's John Dowd when he goes up against the Yankees. But if he's not playing against the Yankees, he doesn't have a 1,700 OPS. He's got a 700 OPS. So, it is what it is, but it worked out in the Yankees' favor. I thought the first game, Stroman pitched really well. The second game, Poteet pitched well. I thought the third game, Cortez pitched decent. I like the strikeouts there. Gave up 7 hits, did have 3 earned runs, gave up 2 home runs. He gives up the long ball. That's just something he does. But Gary, we'll wrap this thing up. I think I said that about 20 minutes ago. But we'll wrap this up here. Tuesday, we're off tomorrow. Tuesday, Luis Heel makes another start against the team that traded him away for Jake Cave. That actually happened. I'm not making that up. He's going up against Bailey Ober, who I think I had on my fantasy team 2 years ago.
Okay.
But anyway,
I don't know
he's got a 4.89 ERA, a 1.11 whip. He's given up 10 home runs. So he has a hard time keeping the ball in the yard. At Yankee Stadium, I don't think that's going to fare too well, but he is 5-3. Heel is 7-1 with a 1.99 ERA, 0.95 whip. He's got 79 strikeouts and has only given up 4 home runs. So we already know what happened the last time the Yankees played the Twins. The Yankees own Minnesota. They do. They swept them in Minnesota. These are the last 3 games of the year that they will play against the Minnesota Twins, barring a playoff, matchup.
I'd love to see it.
I could totally see the Yankees sweeping them again. I think the Twins are a very solid team. but they just do not match up well against the Yankees. I don't care how good they are. They do not match up well against the Yankees. It just doesn't happen. They're 33-26, 17-13 on the road. I just think the Yankees are just a horrible matchup for them. And right now, the Twins, they've won 3 of their last 5. They won 2 against Kansas City.
Good Kansas City team, by the way.
Yeah, good Kansas City team. But I don't know. My biggest issue, the starting pitching. I mean, opposing batters are hitting 243 against this team. To put it into perspective, the Yankees' opposing batting average is 208.
Oh, so, it's a slight years difference. We're a better team in every way. We hit better, we pitch better, we field better, we run better. Everything's better. We manage
with
better.
A day off. I mean, after a long, little trip on the West Coast.
Yeah, you're seeing Ian Hamilton, right? You're seeing Holmes. Yeah. You're seeing all those guys. It's a problem for Minnesota, and they can't afford to have a problem right now, given what the division looks like, because it's not looking the way they hoped it to look. So, yeah, I feel bad for them. So
they went 7-2 on the West Coast.
Yep.
I mean,
it's what we do.
Day off, back at the stadium against the team that you bully. Yeah, I'll take the Yankees in that one. 5-game winning streak on the line. We'll see what ends up happening. My money's on any game he'll pitches, by the way. So it's also that. But that's going to do it. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Always a lot of fun. Be sure to follow us on all social media at Yankees Unloaded, at Gary Sheffield Jr., and at JK Bogan. Again, all social media, not just Twitter. You can find us on Instagram as well. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And tune in on Tuesday or Tuesday night or maybe Wednesday morning. I don't know. But they'll be playing the Twins, and we'll be here to cover it. So that's going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys soon.
And like this video.